Ember's Oath. Chapter 4. Part 7. Ember. An accident. You think someone did this? I think this is the second major fire in Rapid City in less than 24 hours. I hadn't thought about it like that. First the apartment building, now the club's workshop. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. I'll wait for the fire marshal's report, I said. Stone nodded slowly. So will I. Neither of us sounded convinced. Across the yard, Roxie finished wrapping Ink's forearm with a clean bandage. She checked each of the cuts on his hands before carefully taping small dressings over the deeper ones. There, she said, packing away her supplies. No tattooing for a few days. Ink looked horrified. A few days? At least. My clients are going to kill me. They'll have to wait. But, she raised an eyebrow. Do you want those cuts getting infected? He immediately shook his head. No. Good answer. Ink looked over at me. I like her. I noticed. She's scary. I laughed. You're just figuring that out. I thought she was nice. She is. Until you become a patient. Roxie smiled sweetly. I heard that. Ink held up both hands in surrender. See? Terrifying. Even Stone laughed. For a few precious minutes, the tension eased. The fire still burned behind us, but everyone was alive. That mattered. The pickup truck rolled through the open gate and stopped beside the clubhouse workshop. An older man stepped out carrying a hard case. Ink's face lit up. Thank God. Who's that? Roxie asked quietly. My mentor, Ink replied. He owns the tattoo studio where I work. The older man hurried over. You all right, kid? I've been better. He looked at the fresh bandages. I see you've already found yourself a medic. Ink pointed toward Roxie. She patched me up. The man smiled warmly. Then I owe you a thank you. It was nothing. No, he said. It wasn't. As they spoke, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Stone. It was Blaze. I answered immediately. What's up? You still at the workshop? Yeah. You might want to stay there. My stomach tightened. Why? The fire marshal just called the station. I exchanged a look with Stone. What did he say? They found something unusual. What? Blaze's voice dropped. They don't think the apartment fire was accidental. A chill ran down my spine. I slowly lifted my eyes to the burning remains of the workshop, then to Stone. He'd heard enough from my side of the conversation to know something had changed. What is it? He asked. I ended the call. The apartment fire. I swallowed. They're investigating it as possible. Arson? The smile disappeared from every face around us. Stone looked back at the workshop. If someone set that apartment on fire... He didn't need to finish. We were all thinking the same thing. What if this one wasn't an accident either? Stone's jaw tightened as another section of the workshop roof collapsed inward. The firefighters backed away from the building, continuing to attack the flames from a safer distance. The fire marshal was already walking the perimeter, making notes as crews worked. Stone turned to face the gathered members of Hell's King's MC. The easygoing atmosphere that usually surrounded the club was gone. Every face was hard, every set of eyes fixed on their president. Church tomorrow night, Stone said, his voice carrying across the yard. 8 sharp. I want every full patch member there. A chorus of nods answered him. No excuses. He looked from one man to the next. I don't know if this was an accident. The silence that followed was deafening. But until we know for sure, we assume nothing. His gaze landed on me. Ember, I'm listening. I want you coordinating with Blaze while you're on shift. I nodded once. If another fire comes in, I want to know. You will, Stone continued. Tyler. The sergeant-at-arms stepped forward. Yeah, Press. Starting tonight, Nobody rides alone. Tyler gave a single nod. Done. Stone looked around the group again. 2-man patrols. Several members straightened. I want eyes on every club property. He pointed toward the workshop. The clubhouse. The garage. The storage units. The warehouse. The fuel shed. No blind spots. His voice hardened another degree. If somebody thinks they can take a shot at this club, a dangerous smile crossed his face. They're going to find out exactly how wrong they are. No one argued. No one questioned the order. They simply accepted it, because that's what brothers did. Tyler pulled a small notebook from the inside pocket of his cut. I'll organize the rotations. Stone nodded. Keep the patrols moving. No predictable routes. No predictable times. I want anyone watching us wondering where we'll show up next. You got it. Stone's attention shifted toward the prospects. Ink. The younger man looked up from where Roxie was finishing the last bandage. Yeah, Press? You're off patrol. Ink frowned immediately. I'm fine. You've got burns on your arm. They're not that bad. I didn't ask. Ink opened his mouth, then thought better of it. Yes, Press. Stone's expression softened ever so slightly. Your job is to heal. I can still help. You will. Stone nodded toward the clubhouse. Tomorrow. Ink sighed dramatically. Fine. I couldn't hide my grin. Didn't take you long to get benched. Ink shot me a glare. Says the guy with stitches in his shoulder? Touché. Roxie stood, brushing the dirt from her jeans before slinging her trauma bag over one shoulder. He's right, you know. Ink looked between the two of us. You've both teamed up on me. No, I said. We're just outnumbering you. He groaned. I liked you better before you brought a paramedic. Roxie smiled innocently. I have a feeling I'll be hearing that a lot. Probably will, I admitted. Stone walked back over to us. His eyes settled briefly on Roxie. I appreciate you helping one of ours. She smiled politely. He needed treatment. Still, he extended a hand. I'm Stone. She shook it. Roxie. Welcome to Rapid City. Thank you. Stone looked at me. You trust her? The question caught Roxie off guard. She looked between us, but wisely stayed quiet. I do, I answered without hesitation. Stone held my gaze for a second before nodding. Then that's good enough for me. It wasn't a declaration. It wasn't permission. It was simply the president acknowledging my judgment. For now. That was enough. A firefighter approached from the workshop carrying a black evidence bag. The fire marshal followed close behind, speaking quietly to one of his investigators. Stone noticed it too. They found something. I watched the investigator disappear back inside the cordoned-off area. What do you think? I think, Stone said quietly, this night isn't over yet. Neither did I. Somewhere out there, someone might have started 2 fires in less than 24 hours. And if that was true, this was only the beginning.
Chapter 5. Roxie. I'd expected Damien to drop me back at my apartment. Instead, I found myself sitting in the passenger seat of his truck as we followed a line of motorcycles down a quiet road on the outskirts of Rapid City. The night had settled over the black hills, the moon casting silver light across the towering pines that lined the highway. Neither of us spoke for several minutes. The workshop fire weighed heavily on both our minds. I glanced sideways. Damien's hands rested loosely on the steering wheel, but I could see the tension in his jaw. He hadn't relaxed once since we'd left the workshop. You okay? I asked softly. He let out a slow breath. I've had better dates. That earned a small laugh from me. I don't think either of us expected this. No. A faint smile crossed his face. I was hoping dessert wouldn't involve another fire. I would have settled for finishing dinner. So would have I. Silence settled between us again. Comfortable this time. I looked out of the window as the convoy turned onto a long gravel driveway. A wrought iron gate stood open ahead of us. Mounted on either side were black steel signs bearing the same emblem I'd noticed stitched onto the backs of several leather cuts. A crowned skull, crossed wrenches behind it. Hell's King's MC. The gate opened onto several acres of land surrounded by dense forest. My eyes widened. This wasn't just a clubhouse. It was a compound. The main clubhouse stood proudly in the center of the property, built from dark timber and stone. Warm lights glowed from the windows despite the late hour. Several outbuildings surrounded it, along with a large garage, storage sheds, and open space where dozens of motorcycles were already parked. Off in the distance, orange lights still flickered above the tree line where the workshop fire continued to smolder under the watchful eye of the fire department. Damien parked beside a row of pickup trucks. He looked at me. "You don't have to come in." I tilted my head. "And leave you to patch up your own shoulder?" "I've survived this long." "Barely." He chuckled. "You really don't let things go." "I've been told I'm persistent." "I've noticed." He climbed out of the truck before walking around to open my door. "You sure?" "I am." He nodded once. "Then stick close to me." As soon as we stepped onto the gravel, conversations around the yard quietened. Dozens of eyes briefly settled on me. Not hostile, curious. I couldn't blame them. I was the outsider, the woman none of them knew. Stone emerged from the clubhouse entrance, his coffee brown hair still damp from where he'd run a hand through it one too many times. His light blue eyes met mine before shifting to Damien. "You made it." Damien nodded. "Anything changed?" "The fire marshal's still processing the workshop." Stone glanced at me. "Glad you decided to join us." "I wasn't sure if I should." "You helped one of ours tonight." His expression softened slightly. "That makes you welcome." Before I could answer, the clubhouse door burst open. Ink appeared carrying a paper plate piled embarrassingly high with food. His freshly bandaged forearm was tucked carefully against his chest. The moment he saw me, he grinned. "There she is," Stone sighed. "You were supposed to be resting." "I am." Ink held up the plate. "I'm eating." Several members laughed. Stone pinched the bridge of his nose. "You're unbelievable." "I've heard that today." "More than once," Damien muttered. Ink ignored him and walked over to me. "I never actually thanked you." "You don't have to." "I do." His light green eyes were sincere now. "You could have gone home. But instead, you stayed and patched me up." He smiled. "So, thanks." "You're welcome." He looked down at the neat bandages covering his hands. "I'd shake your hand. But that might undo your hard work." I smiled. "I think we'll survive without it." "Good." He looked between Damien and me before a mischievous grin spread across his face. "So," Damien groaned. "Don't." Ink ignored him completely. "How long have you two been dating?" "We're not," I answered quickly. "We just met yesterday." Ink blinked. "Seriously?" "Seriously." He looked at Damien. "You work fast." I said don't. Laughter erupted from several nearby club members. Even Stone failed to hide a smile. "I like him," Ink said to me. "I've known him for about 30 seconds longer than you have." "I've known him my whole life," Damien replied dryly. "And he doesn't improve with time." I heard that too. "I'm counting on it." The easy banter eased some of the tension hanging over the yard. For a little while, the workshop fire faded into the background. But only for a little while. A pickup rolled slowly through the gates. Every conversation stopped. The fire marshal climbed out carrying a clipboard tucked beneath one arm. Stone's smile disappeared instantly. He looked at Damien. "Looks like we've got answers." judging by the expression on the fire marshal's face. None of us were going to like them. The yard fell silent as the fire marshal stepped out of his truck. He carried a clipboard under one arm and a black evidence case in the other. Stone met him halfway across the gravel. Falcon appeared from inside the clubhouse a moment later, drawn by the sudden hush that had settled over the property. I'd only seen him briefly earlier in the evening. Now, standing beneath the floodlights, I got a better look at him. He stood around 6'2" with naturally white hair cut short, something I'd probably have assumed was dyed if I hadn't known better. His gray eyes missed very little, and although he wasn't as heavily built as Damien, his medium muscular frame carried itself with quiet confidence. Unlike Stone, Falcon didn't speak immediately. He simply listened. The fire marshal looked between the two men before opening his clipboard. "I'm afraid it isn't good news." Stone folded his arms. I figured. The fire originated in the rear storage room. Electrical? The marshal shook his head. No. My stomach tightened. We located traces of an accelerant. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. It was deliberately set. Stone's jaw flexed. "You're certain?" "As certain as I can be before the lab results come back." He opened the evidence case just enough to reveal a partially melted metal container sealed inside an evidence bag. "We recovered this." Falcon's expression darkened. "Gasoline?" "Looks that way." The marshal closed the case again. "Someone wanted that building to burn." Stone thanked him quietly before the marshal climbed back into his truck and disappeared through the gates. No one said a word until the taillights vanished down the road. Finally, Stone exhaled. Office. It wasn't a request. Every patched member nearby immediately understood. Stone looked toward Damien. Ember. Then to Blaze. "You too." His eyes settled on me. "Roxie." I blinked. "Me?" "You were there tonight." He paused. "And I trust your judgment." I glanced at Damien. He gave me a small nod. "Come on." Stone continued issuing orders. Falcon. His vice president was already beside him. Ledger. A tall man with ash-brown hair looked up from where he'd been speaking with another member. At 6'4", he towered over almost everyone in the yard. His light blue eyes were thoughtful rather than intimidating, and he carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone used to balancing numbers and people alike. Torch. A younger man with sandy blonde hair left his motorcycle and headed over without hesitation. He moved with the easy confidence of someone who spent most of his life on two wheels. Hitch. Another member stepped forward from the edge of the crowd. Dark brown hair, hazel eyes, lean and athletic with broad shoulders that filled out his cut. Finally, Torque. A broad-shouldered man with steel gray eyes and a naturally imposing presence walked over from the garage. His dark brown hair was cropped short with a subtle fade, and despite saying nothing, everyone instinctively made room for him. Stone looked around once. Everyone else stays outside. "If anyone asks," Falcon finished the sentence, "we know nothing until we know everything." Stone nodded once. Exactly. Without another word, he turned toward the clubhouse. Damien gently touched the small of my back. "This way." We followed the others inside. The clubhouse was quieter than I'd expected. Warm, built almost entirely from timber. Photographs covered one wall, showing decades of club history. Motorcycles, road trips, charity rides, brothers standing shoulder to shoulder. There was far more family in these walls than fear. Stone led us down a hallway before opening a heavy oak door. "Come in." His office was surprisingly understated. A large wooden desk dominated the room, with filing cabinets lining one wall and maps of South Dakota pinned neatly to another. A framed Hells Kings patch hung behind the desk. Everyone naturally found their places. Stone remained standing behind his chair. Falcon leaned against the wall to his right. Ledger quietly took a seat near a bookshelf, already opening a notebook. Torque folded his arms beside the door, looking every bit the sergeant at arms. Torch stood near one of the windows overlooking the yard. Hitch settled into the chair beside him, his attention fixed on Stone. Blaze stayed beside Damien. I was the only person who felt slightly out of place. Stone noticed. Sit. He gestured toward the empty chair beside Damien. I did. For several moments, nobody spoke. Stone rested both hands on the desk. The workshop fire was arson. The words settled over the room like a weight. Nobody looked surprised, only disappointed. Falcon broke the silence first. So we're dealing with someone sending a message. Maybe, Stone replied. Or someone trying to hurt the club. Ledger looked up from his notebook. The timing's too convenient. Everyone turned toward him. He continued. Apartment fire yesterday. Workshop tonight. If they're connected. He didn't finish the thought. He didn't have to. Torque's deep voice cut through the room. Then whoever did it isn't finished. The office fell silent again. I looked toward Damien. His jaw was tight. His injured shoulder forgotten. He wasn't thinking like a firefighter anymore. He was thinking like the enforcer of Hell's King's MC. And for the first time since meeting him, I caught a glimpse of the man behind the patch. The man who would do whatever it took to protect the people in this room, no matter the cost. Silence settled over the office. The only sound came from the old grandfather clock in the corner. Tick, tick, tick. Stone rested his hands on the edge of his desk. Let's start with what we know. Ledger uncapped his pen. Apartment fire first, he said, already writing across the top of a fresh page. Stone nodded. Victims? I spoke before anyone else could. Fortunately, everyone made it out. I thought of Lily and her mother. They were lucky. Blaze leaned forward in his chair. The fire department hasn't released an official report yet, but from what Ember told us, the fire marshal believes it was deliberately set. Damien nodded. That's what Blaze heard from the station. Ledger wrote it down. Apartment fire confirmed suspected arson. Residential building, multiple occupants. He looked up. Workshop, Stone answered. Confirmed accelerant. Originated in the rear storage room. Minimal chance of accidental ignition. Ledger added another list. Workshop fire confirmed accelerant. Club property. 1 injury. Ink. I thought back to the young prospect sitting patiently while I bandaged his arm. He'd been lucky too. Stone folded his arms. So, what connects them? Torch spoke first. They're both fires. Torque gave him a flat look. No kidding. Torch shrugged. Just getting the obvious out of the way? A faint smile tugged at Hitch's mouth. Stone ignored the interruption. Locations? Different, Falcon replied immediately. Victims? Different. Time? Within 24 hours of each other, Ledger answered. Both at night. Damien finally spoke. The apartment fire started while most people were asleep. He looked toward me. The workshop happened after everyone had gone home. I nodded. Meaning whoever started them expected the buildings to be mostly empty. Falcon frowned. Or expected someone specific to be there. The room grew quiet again. Stone looked at Damien. What do you mean? He leaned forward slightly. The apartment building wasn't completely empty. No. There were still residents inside. He looked toward me, and Roxie. Everyone's eyes shifted to me. I blinked. You think someone was trying to kill me? I don't know, Damien admitted. I'm saying we can't rule anything out. I shook my head. I only moved here a little over a week ago. I don't know anyone. I don't have enemies here. Stone nodded thoughtfully. What about Chicago? I hesitated. None that would follow me halfway across the country. No one pushed me further. Not yet. Ledger tapped his pen against the notebook. What about the workshop? He looked toward Stone. Who knew ink was coming back? Stone answered without hesitation. No one. Ink had forgotten one of his tattoo machines. He'd gone back alone. It hadn't been planned. So if someone targeted Ink, Hitch said slowly, they would have had to know he was returning. Or, Torka added, he wasn't the target. Everyone looked at him. The workshop was. Stone nodded once. Destroying club property sends a message. It costs us money. Ledger looked up. It also destroys records. I frowned. What kind of records? The workshop wasn't just a garage, Ledger explained. It stored maintenance logs, parts inventories, old paperwork. Nothing illegal. But replacing years of records won't be easy. Falcon rubbed the back of his neck. So we've got 2 buildings, 2 fires. No obvious connection. Torch frowned. There has to be one. There always is. Blaze shifted in his chair. What if the apartment fire wasn't the target? Stone looked at him. Go on. If someone wanted firefighters distracted, he looked toward Damien. Starting a large apartment fire would pull a huge number of emergency crews into town. Realization slowly spread across the room. Torch was the first to voice it, leaving fewer resources available somewhere else. Like here, Falcon finished. My pulse quickened. That actually made sense. Damien wasn't convinced. The timing doesn't fit. Everyone turned toward him. The workshop fire happened the following night. If they wanted the fire department distracted, they'd have hit both places at once. Stone nodded. Good point. So we're back where we started. Another silence settled over the room. I looked down at the map of Rapid City pinned to the wall behind Stone. My eyes drifted from one marked location to another. Then something caught my attention. I stood. Every head turned toward me. Roxie? I walked over to the map. Can I? Stone nodded. I pointed to the apartment complex. That's where I live. Then to another pin several miles away. The workshop. I frowned. They're not close. No, but they're both. I searched for the right words. And on the outskirts. Damien stood beside me. What are you thinking? I don't know yet. I traced an imaginary line between the 2 locations. They're far enough apart that nobody would immediately connect them. But both are isolated compared to downtown. Torquay walked over. They're also both close to Highway 16. Falcon joined us. So, someone could get in and out quickly. Hitch finished. Stone stared at the map for several long seconds. Then he looked back at the room. I don't like coincidences. Neither do I, Damien replied. Stone's expression hardened. So, until we know who's behind this, he looked at each of us in turn. We assume there'll be another fire. Nobody argued, because deep down, every one of us had reached the same conclusion. Whoever had started this hadn't finished yet. For several seconds, no one moved. The weight of Stone's final words lingered in the office. We assume there'll be another fire. The grandfather clock ticked steadily in the silence. Stone finally pushed away from his desk. We're done for tonight. Nobody looked convinced. We've got nothing else to go on, he continued. Speculating won't get us any answers. Falcon nodded. We'll pick this up at church tomorrow night. Stone looked around the room one last time. In the meantime, patrols start immediately. Torque straightened. I've already got pairs in mind. Good. Make sure nobody's riding alone. They won't. Stone's gaze landed on Damien. And you. I already knew what was coming. No heroics. Damien sighed. I knew that was aimed at me. It usually is. A ripple of quiet laughter spread around the room, easing some of the tension. Stone pointed toward Damien's shoulder. doctor gives you restrictions for a reason. I'm not made of glass. No, Blaze muttered. Just stitched together. That earned a chuckle from everyone. Even Damien smiled. Traitor. I learned from the best. Stone shook his head, hiding the ghost of a smile. Get out of my office. Gladly, Torch replied, opening the door. The mood lightened as everyone filtered into the hallway. The office had been all business. Outside it, the brothers slowly became themselves again. Ledger walked beside Falcon, quietly discussing insurance paperwork for the workshop. I'll start making a list of everything that was lost first thing tomorrow, Ledger said. Falcon nodded. Photograph everything before it's moved. Already planning to. Behind them, Hitch nudged Torque. So, Torque looked sideways. What? You ever think we'd spend an evening discussing paperwork instead of writing? Torque deadpanned. No, me neither. Torch laughed from ahead of them. You two complain like an old married couple. Torque gave him a look. Careful. Torch raised both hands. I know. Road captain should know when to stop talking. Exactly. I found myself smiling. For men who looked intimidating enough to clear a room simply by walking into it, they acted more like a family than anything else. Damien noticed. What? I was expecting. I searched for the right words. Something different. He opened the door leading into the main room of the clubhouse. What were you expecting? I don't know. A lot more shouting? Maybe. He laughed softly. That only happens during football season. The main room was far larger than I'd imagined. A massive stone fireplace dominated one end, flames crackling warmly despite the mild night outside. Heavy timber beams stretched across the ceiling. Several well-worn leather sofas surrounded low wooden tables scarred by years of use. A full-sized pool table occupied one corner, while a jukebox stood against the opposite wall. Photographs covered nearly every spare section of wall. Brothers laughing, charity rides, wedding pictures, children sitting on motorcycles far too big for them. It felt lived in, comfortable. Not at all like the stereotype people imagined when they heard the words motorcycle club. The smell of grilled food drifted from the kitchen. Someone had already started another pot of coffee. Others headed toward the bar. Stone walked behind it with the ease of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. What'll it be? He asked. Falcon answered first. Whiskey. Thought you'd say that. Stone reached for a bottle. Hitch? Beer. Torch? The same. Ledger? Coffee. Torque looked almost offended. It's nearly midnight. Ledger shrugged. I've got spreadsheets waiting for me. You need help. I know. Stone chuckled as he poured the drinks. Then his eyes settled on Damien. Water. Damien frowned. Seriously? You've got pain medication in your system. I hate when you're responsible. I know. Stone slid the bottle of water across the bar. Damien caught it with his left hand. I liked you better 5 minutes ago. No, you didn't. I didn't. Stone looked at me. And you, Roxie? I'll have a coffee, please. Coming right up. Within moments, everyone had a drink in hand. The conversation slowly shifted away from arson and investigations. Torch challenged Hitch to a game of pool. Hitch accepted immediately. Torquay wandered over to referee before either of them could argue over the rules. Falcon leaned against the bar, talking quietly with Ledger about arranging temporary storage for the tools salvaged from the workshop. Blaze disappeared into the kitchen before returning with a tray piled high with sandwiches. I figured nobody actually ate dinner. He wasn't wrong. Ink appeared from somewhere upstairs, his bandaged forearm resting in a sling now. His eyes immediately locked onto the food. There it is. Blaze laughed. You've got incredible timing. I smell free food. You smell everything. I do. Ink grabbed a sandwich before noticing me sitting beside Damien. He grinned. Hey, Doc. I'm not a doctor. Close enough. No. He took an exaggerated bite of his sandwich. Still patched me up. I did. And I appreciate it. Damien shook his head. You've thanked her 4 times. I'm aiming for 5. I laughed. I think 4 is plenty. Nah. Ink smiled. You saved me from having Torque bandage me. Torque looked over from the pool table. I heard that. Ink pointed at him. See? You would have survived. Torque smirked. Barely. Laughter echoed through the clubhouse. For the first time since arriving. The weight of the fires eased, if only for a little while. Watching them joke with one another, tease each other without mercy, and make sure everyone had something to eat or drink, I began to understand what Hell's King's MC really was. On the outside, they were bikers. Inside these walls and in everyday life, they were brothers. And somehow, without ever planning to, I was beginning to feel surprisingly comfortable among them. The story isn't over yet. Join me in the next chapter of Ember's Oath.